Chapter 36 of the Bigger Picture. Oh, wrong way, that way. My son. I have just one son, Jordan, and I love him beyond reason. He's a man now, but he will always be my boy. Now I'm sure at this point all you mums out there are in total agreement, so you'll understand how I felt when he announced that he was off to Brazil for 6 months. Of course, I didn't want him to go. He was in his early 20s at that time, and Brazil was the other side of the world. All sorts of nasty things could happen. And, to be completely honest, I was afraid that he would meet a nice Brazilian girl and want to stay. But I never really had a say in the matter, and, to be honest, neither should I have. He was an adult. It was his life, and he had every right to make his own decisions without any angst being put on him by an overbearing mother. But that didn't stop me crying buckets when we said goodbye, or constantly worrying about him. Within my spiritual development, I know that attachment is not good, and that we all have to deal with separation at some point in our lives. As mothers, we all know the pain of separation. Even an hour away from a newborn is difficult. We constantly feel that we shouldn't be too far away in case we're needed. As a spouse and partner, the pain is immense when separation takes place after a lifetime together. I do believe, however, that separation is only temporary. At some point, we will be reunited. But knowing and feeling are two different things. We are living in the here and now, and the pain of what we must cope with is very difficult. But Jordan had his life to lead, and I had mine. I enjoy every moment we spend together, and when we're apart, I look forward to the next time he's back home. One morning, I woke up to an email from him with the subject line, "Coming home." He had booked his return flight, and I was so excited. And then he sent me another email. At that time, Skype was the only means of face-to-face conversations, but even that was hit and miss and depended on good internet connections. Email was the way we communicated, but it wasn't instant. There was a time difference for one thing, and then I had to wait for him to go to an internet cafe to read his messages from me. Anyway, his email said that there might be a bit of a problem as his visa had run out several weeks previously, so he'd overstayed his time in Brazil. He was worried that they might stop him at the airport. Oh, for God's sake, why on earth didn't he check it? Once he left for the airport, I would have no way of contacting him, and he definitely wouldn't message me. I worried all day and had visions of the Brazilian authorities throwing him in jail for outstaying his welcome in their country. That night I went to bed and sent Reiki to the situation. I asked for a good outcome for all concerned, and that Jordan would get through the airport checks and board his flight home. I sent so much Reiki that it seemed to be flowing out of every pore in my body. I got so hot I couldn't sleep and spent the night tossing and turning, throwing the covers off and then pulling them back on again. The next day I went to the airport to pick him up. I hadn't heard from him, so was hoping and praying that everything went well and he got on his flight. After a very anxious hour or so at Heathrow, his flight landed, and, still unsure whether he was on it or not, I stood by the barrier in the arrivals hall. After what seemed like 11 billion hours, he came through the automatic doors with a big grin on his face, and then he saw me. I could relax. My boy was home. Later, I asked him how it all went at the airport. It was really quite strange, he said. All their systems went down, so they couldn't check in any of the passengers in the usual way and had to do it manually. They had a quick look at my passport and gave me a handwritten boarding pass and let me through. Oh, the power of Reiki, eh?